Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Ashley, also known as aashwarr Plays, and I am back with a tutorial video for you guys. This has been highly requested and it's about Wicked Whims made by Turbo Driver. I get so many comments about what my Wicked Whims settings are, how I use the custom animations, and how do I make the mod not feel so, I guess, intrusive. So for those that don't know, Wicked Whims is a mod that adds a variety of gameplay features to The Sims 4, such as menstruation cycles, contraceptives, an attractive system, and the most prominent feature, which is sexual intercourse. If you're a returning viewer on this channel, you guys know that I refer to this as hunchin'. But this is hands down my favorite mod. It is so essential to my gameplay, along with UI cheats made by Weirbusu and MC Command Center made by Deaderpool. Before we get into the video, I do want to reiterate that this mod contains adult themes and it's only suitable for those that are 18 years or older. Another disclaimer is that this video will not be like a full complete guide on the Wicked Whims mod. This mod is way too massive and it introduces a ton of gameplay features into the game, some that I haven't even experienced for myself. So if you're interested in learning about all of the features that this mod provides, there's a handful of videos already covering this on YouTube, but this video in particular is just to show you guys how I personally use this mod and how I implement it into my Let's Play series. So with that being said, I'm going to break down the video into 4 parts. The first is how to install the mod and where you can download custom content and animations that are compatible with it. Next, we'll go over my Wicked Whims settings and I'll show you guys how I use this mod to make my game feel more realistic. Then we'll go over how to use custom animations and poses, and then we'll finally touch on all the gameplay features that I personally use from this mod. Because this is basically an adult mod, I'm not going to be able to link it directly in the YouTube description like I usually do with all the mods that I showcased. So what I'm going to need you to do is open up your favorite search engine. Mine personally is Google. You're going to type in Wicked Whims, and it should be the very first link that pops up, but if it isn't, look for wickedwhimsmod.com. Now when you do click on a link, it should give you an age restricted warning. This mod is for the grown and sexy, so if you are not of age, you need to click on off. Once you confirm that you're 18 years or older, you'll have access to the website. Like I said before, this mod has so many gameplay features, so if you're interested in any in particular, you can click on any of these and read more on them. If you want access to the free version of this mod, you'll click on download, and there's 2 different websites to choose from. I typically select this one here. Again, it's another warning that you have to be 18 plus to view this website. Scroll all the way to the bottom and you should see a download link. I have the Patreon version of Wicked Whims in my game, and this allows me to have early access to even more gameplay features that this mod provides. To access this, you'll click on Patreon here and it should open up Turbo Driver's Patreon page. I haven't updated my Sims 4 game since January. It was the January 16th patch update. I'll put the game version number here on the screen for you guys so you know which version I have. With that being said, I don't have the most up-to-date Patreon version of the Wicked Whims installed in my game, and that is because the latest installation is only compatible with the March 6th game patch. I believe the version I have in my game is version 180.1, but I'm going to show you guys how to properly install this mod into your game. After you downloaded Wicked Whims into your PC, what you're going to do is you're going to extract the file, and inside this file you should see a folder that says Wicked Whims mod. What you're going to do is you're going to copy this folder, and then you're going to go into your mods folder for your Sims 4 game. And if you don't know how to access this, if you're on Windows, you'll click on Documents, then Electronic Arts, Sims 4, and then you should see a folder that says Mods folder. You'll click on that, and this is where you'll paste your Wicked Whims folder. But as you can see here, I already have a folder that is dedicated for Wicked Whims, so I'm going to remove this from my game and show you guys what my folder looks like. And those 2 files that were in the Wicked Whims folder is already in here. Now I'm going to show you guys how to install custom animations that are compatible with Wicked Whims. Heading back to the Wicked Whims website, you're going to click on download, scroll down a bit, and you're going to see a list of animators. And here are a bunch of animators that you can download animations for. And so my personal favorite animators are Grey Naya and E44P. Now I have another favorite that is Kiki Chain. They're not provided on the list here, but you're able to access their animations through Patreon. If you just type in Kiki Chain on Google, it should be the first link to pop up. You have 2 different websites to download these animations from. You can get them from the Wicked CC website, or you can get them from Lovers Lab. Now if you pick the latter, please make sure that you have an ad blocker installed into your game, because apparently Lovers Lab contains a ton of adult ads, and I was not aware of this because I'm always using an ad blocker extension whenever I'm on the internet. So whenever I told people, yeah, I use Lovers Lab, people would be like, how do you handle being on that website? Like, all the ads there are just very overbearing. And I would be like, there's ads? Like, I was not aware that there's ads on this website. So if you do use Lovers Lab, 1, you have to create an account, and 2, use an ad blocker extension before accessing this website. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to show the former website. We're going to click on Greenaya, and if you scroll all the way down, there will be files available to download. And just like how you download the TurboDriver mod into your game, you'll do the same exact for the custom animations. But that's pretty much it for installing the mod and installing custom animations. If you need more help on it, the website does provide a guide to follow, which will probably be a lot more helpful. Once you have Wicked Whims installed into your game, you're going to open it, and the first thing I would suggest doing is adjusting your Wicked Whims settings. But before we do that, I want to quickly introduce the 2 sims I'm going to be using for today's video. So here is Chastity. If you watch any of my mod review videos, you would know that she's my model sim. And then here's her boyfriend Cameron, well, her future fiance. These 2 sims are featured in my Discovery University series, and Cameron's actually going to be proposing to Chastity very soon. I'm really excited about that. I think these 2 sims are very fitting for today's video. They're currently at Chastity's parents' home. I locked her parents in their bedroom. Their door is gone. But to access the Wicked Whims settings, what you're going to do is click on the floor, and you should see interaction with a purple heart that says Wicked. You'll select that, and you should see the settings interaction. And this will give you access to your Wicked Whims settings. This portion of the video will be very tedious. What I would suggest doing is pulling up your Wicked Whims settings, and we can go through the settings together. So what we're going to do is actually scroll down a bit, and you should see the category that says setting profiles. And so if you need access to any of the settings that you set up in your save files, they'll all be here. So you can switch setting profiles. This is really great when you want to play with different saves and have different Wicked Whims settings for each save. You can rename the setting profiles if you like. I just play with one set of Wicked settings, and I have it named as my_Wicked_settings. You can delete settings profiles. You can clone current settings, which I'm actually going to do for today's video. I'm just gonna call this Ashley Plays. And now at the top, it should say that the current profile for this save file is Ashley Plays. What I'm actually gonna do is reset the current settings to default, so I can show you guys what the default settings for Wicked Whims is and how I adjust them to how to make my game more realistic. So the first category is the master settings, and in this category we have a bunch of features that we can toggle on and off. Sex gameplay switch is turned on, sex autonomy switch is turned on. Personally, I think this is what makes the game very messy, so that is why that's toggled on. I have the semen layer switch turned off. I have the crab life switch enabled. The burning bladder switch, I feel like this is newish because I've actually never seen this before, but we'll keep it on. For realism, we'll keep it on. We have menstrual cycle switch turned on. I have nudity gameplay switch turned off. I would not be able to show that on YouTube anyways. Pubic hair switch, I believe I have this turned off. Editing Ashley here, so I'm gonna be popping in from time to time to do some clarification because I feel like there's a few things I didn't elaborate enough on. Wicked Whims features dynamic pubic hair growth. Your sim's pubic hair will grow over time. However, the main reason why this is turned off is because I already use custom body hair made by Lumia, so I feel like this isn't needed, and also I don't play with nudity, so it's not like I can see it anyways. Sweating overlay switch, now this is something that I toggle on and off from time to time, whether it just personally annoys me or not, but I actually like this because whenever your sims do strenuous activities, they'll get like a layer of sweat. Now this one right here, oh my gosh. Window peeping switch, now I have this turned off, but for the sake of today's video, I'm actually going to keep this on because I actually have personal beef with this setting, and I'll show you guys later on in this video. I have creep NPCs turned off. Sim Hub switch is turned off. Sims attracting switch is turned on. Relationships impression switch is turned on. And the lewd dreaming switch is turned on. Now this right here is very messy as well, so definitely have that toggled on. Before I go over the nudity settings, I do want to point out that TurboDriver has a streamer mode add-on where it will censor all nudity and sex in gameplay in casts. If you just Google this right here, it should pop up and you'll place this file in the Wicked Whims folder. However, I actually don't have this add-on in my game. What I actually use uses a sensor override, and it's made by this creator right here. I'll have this linked in the description down below, but it just makes the mosaic smaller so that it's not covering up your Sims all that much. I already covered this mod in overrides video. I'll have that linked in the description down below. It has like a list of a bunch of override mods that I have in my game, but again, it just makes the sensor mosaic a lot smaller. Now I do have this disabled because again, I make YouTube content, so I really can't show sim titties and sim booty cheeks on my channel. But if you're just doing personal gameplay, I would definitely go through the settings and see what you want to adjust to your personal liking. Editing Ashley here again. So there's actually a few settings that I have adjusted and I want to quickly go over them. The first category is undressing settings. The first option is underwear switch, and this is actually a really neat feature because if you do play with nudity turned on and your Sims need to undress, they won't automatically take all their clothes off. They'll undress into their underwear first. In order to customize your Sim's underwear, you'll click on your Sim, select Wicked, select personalization, then anatomy and clothing, and you can change your Sim's underwear. I personally have teen nudity switch turned off, and then I keep the respect child Sim's eyes half checked. Going into the behavior settings, we have even more undressing options. For peeing undressing switch, I'm actually going to turn that off, as well as the breastfeeding undressing switch, because if your Sims are wearing full body outfits, they'll just completely strip naked. And I'd rather them just be fully clothed. We're gonna keep shoes for workout, keep sleepwear outdoors switch, dressed up in advance switch. So if your Sims are nude before traveling, they'll dress up before going to the next lots. I have the dress up when going off home lot fully checked. Dress up for interaction outfits is turned on. Dress up after flashing.
Huh?
Oh, not y'all flashing, folks. Hold on. I have that turned on. And then in the auto undress outfit parts behavior, all of this is turned on. They'll automatically undress their gloves with their top, their shoes with their bottoms, their socks with their shoes, and then their leggings with their bottoms. In the occurrence and autonomy settings, player occurrences inclusion is turned on. Respect child Sim's eyes is half checked. Creep Sims settings are disabled. And then in the interaction outfit behavior, you can go through here and customize how you want your Sims to behave during certain interactions. And by default, it looks like it's all half checked, but because I have nudity settings turned off, I don't think any of these settings apply to me. But if I were to play with nudity turned on, then I would go through these settings and adjust accordingly. In the autonomy specifics, I'm going to uncheck Embrace Nudity Club autonomy and then Flash Club autonomy. Now, I believe this only occurs if you have a flashing club anyways, but I'm just gonna turn it off just in case. PP no context autonomy is turned off, but autonomy respects underwear is turned on. So this means that if your Sims do autonomously undress, they'll change into their underwear first. And there's settings for a strip club. I haven't even touched on the strip club feature in Wicked Whims. I want to in the future though, definitely in the future, but that's pretty much it for the nudity settings. Next is the sex settings. The first category is sex interaction. I do keep the teen sex switch turned off. I think woohoo is sufficient enough with them. You can adjust the duration settings for this, and this will determine how long your Sims will hunch for. I have the time limit switch turned on, and by default it's 3 real-time minutes. I think I'm going to switch this over to 1 minute because 1 minute equals 1 hour in Sims, and I think 3 hours of Sims hunching is quite a bit. I mean, good for them, but because time goes by so fast, I just have this set to 1. And then the same for NPC Sims. There's one thing I want to touch on. It's the sexual stamina motor switch. They'll get like a gauge meter in their needs. Just like the hunger and the hygiene, this will deplete whenever your Sims are having sex. And I think that this is so realistic because you can only do so much. So if you do want to play with a longer duration, I would suggest having this toggled on, and your Sims will just keep hunching until they get tired, basically. Moving on to progression. When you download custom animations, you have different categories to choose from. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go into full detail on these categories. Just think about it as like foreplay, the intercourse, and then the climax. I'll show the categories a little bit later on, but basically with the sex animations progression, this will determine the progression of your Sims having sex. And I have full sex progression turned on. Whenever I'm setting up for a cinematic cutscene, I will have the controlled sex progression turned on. If I'm just playing the game for my Let's Play series, this needs to be turned off. So like I explained before, there's different animations that your Sims will go through during sex, and by default, your Sims will automatically go to the next animation without you having to do anything. If you're someone that doesn't really want to see your Sims hunching and you just want to have like the cute little kissing animations and like the cuddling animations, I would suggest having this turned on so that that it prevents your Sims from automatically clapping cheeks after they have a little makeout session. And this also applies to the sex outfits. So if you click on playable Sims undressing behavior, during gameplay, I have auto undressing turned on. So whenever your Sims are progressing during their hunching session, they'll take their clothes off and do what they need to do. But for my cinematic clips, I have this disabled. And again, if you don't want to see Sim titties, Sim booty cheeks, I would suggest doing the same. And you can also adjust this with NPC Sims as well. Sims dressing up behavior after sex. I think I'll keep that half checked. So the remaining settings, I don't actually do any adjusting to. They're all just the default settings. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there should be a category that says advanced sex interaction settings. We're gonna click on that. So the first is initiation. During gameplay, I do have the talk and walk. So your Sims will ask their partner if they want to engage, and then they'll walk to their hunching location. But when I do cinematics, I do instant because I don't have time for that. I need to set up the scenes, and this will instantly teleport the Sims to where I need them to be. If you couldn't tell, I do have a height slider mod in my game. It's made by Lumia. I do have this toggled on, so automatically adjust your Sim's height to prevent any type of clipping that happens. Now we're moving on to relationships. And here's where we get even more messy, you guys. It says here by default, relationship awareness is toggled on. Check for Sims to stay faithful to their partners. Certain relationship altering traits, ignore this setting. I have this turned off, y'all. And if you watch my Let's Play series, you would know these Sims are not faithful at all. Not in the slightest bit. Like, the only faithful couple I have right now is Chastity and Cameron. I think that's pretty much it for relationship settings. I really don't touch on anything else. Now, here's where the moneymaker is, the autonomy settings. And I do have this turned on. Make sure those notifications are turned on too, so you can see who doing what. Next two categories is the intensity presets and then complex settings. And I believe that if you don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of the autonomy complex settings, you could just simply set a preset and this will do the work for you. And in the intensity preset setting, you can set how frequent you want your Sims to autonomously hunch. I would suggest either the low or default intensity, because by default, your Sims will be hunching a lot. They be hunching a lot, y'all. But for me, I like to go through the nitty-gritty and determine what I want to be autonomous, what I want turned off, how frequent I want specific settings to be. So we're gonna go through these together. First is triggers. Your Sims can just randomly hunch, which I'm telling you, this right here will make your gameplay very messy. We have solo, joining. I'm gonna turn this off, and the reason why is because I get so annoyed whenever your Sims will just be doing their own thing and then like this random ass Sim will be like, hi, can I join? No, like leave my Sims alone. But that's just like a personal preference. If you just want to turn it on to be messy, I would hey, have fun with it. I have travel sex turned off, and the reason why is because whenever your Sims will travel, there's a chance when you get to the lot there's gonna be some Sims hunching, and that's such a jump scare to me. I'm sorry. Like, can't even get a hello first and you just seeing Sims clapping cheeks in the background. This is my favorite right here, romance conversation. So whenever your Sims are just flirting with each other and they just like, you know what, let's get in that bed. We have that turned on. I have solo watching turned off, club sex turned off, and then invite peeping Sim turned off. Next is the autonomy awareness. We have player Sims autonomy turned on. I have player Sims joining sex autonomy turned off. Active player Sim autonomy is turned on. By default, active player Sim solo autonomy is turned off. I actually want to turn that on. If my Sims want to have a little of their own fun, I'm gonna let them do that. NP pregnancy awareness is turned on, and it says here NPC Sims avoid sex if they have a high chance of getting pregnant. And if you're like me and you don't like a bunch of babies spawning in your save file because you like to micromanage, I would highly suggest having this turned on. Now this one right here, block around children, it says here that Sims will not hunch when it's children on the lot. I'm gonna be honest, I think that's unrealistic, especially if you have a Sim couple that has children and they want to get a late night session in while their children are sleeping in their bedrooms. I think that's okay. I think that's fine. I don't think I've ever seen this setting before. Check for Sims to assess risk of attempting to initiate sex by their age, number of Sims around, number of underage Sims around, and family relations. I'm gonna keep that on. All right, next category is autonomy allowed on venues. And honestly, like if you want to get a quickie in all these lies, go ahead. I think I'm gonna just leave this alone. It looks like by default high school's turned off. Okay, and then here's where we really get into the nitty-gritty. This is the complex settings. Here you can adjust how often you want your Sims to autonomously hunch, and I think for the most part I usually have this set by default, or the numbers are pretty close. I think for random I'm going to set it a little bit lower than the norm, just a little bit. Travel is turned off. I have it toggled off in the settings already. Anything that I've toggled off, I just make it 0 just in case. Now with romance sex, I actually have this set to 0.2 because I feel like if you be flirting and you hugging and kissing. One thing will lead to another and y'all gonna end up in somebody's bed. So I do raise that up a bit. Next we have is autonomy cooldowns. And so basically determine how much time will pass before your sims will hunt you again. And I just leave this by default. Next is asking for sex dialogues. And I have this all enabled. So whenever a sim will autonomously ask another sim to hunt, you'll get a pop-up that tells you that your sims want to engage in sex. And because I like to micromanage, I like to have them all turned on. And I think that's pretty much it for autonomy settings. Everything else is pretty much by default. I do have the semen layers turned off, so we don't have to worry about that. Sexual diseases and issues, I do have this all toggled on. And I'm honestly surprised none of my sims, especially one of my main sims from my Discover Let's Play series, has gotten a sexual disease yet with the amount of hunching that she's been doing. But that just means that she's staying healthy and her partners are staying healthy, so period. But these are all toggled on, so your sims do have a chance of contracting a disease from an infected sim. And I have the percentage set to 18%. Next is other settings. Default woohoo switch is turned on because, again, YouTube content, I really can't show my sims hunching. This is all mainly for cinematics, but it also allows me to see which sims are hooking up with who. In the cheat section, this is all turned off, but if you go into advanced cheats, these are all turned on, except for this one because I don't use it. Editing Ashley here again. Want to do a little bit of clarification about the sex privacy switch as well as the sex reaction switch. So these two are actually turned off whenever I'm doing a cinematic cutscene, especially if the animations I want the sims to do are in public, because otherwise the sims will either react or leave the premises whenever your sims do a custom animation, even if it's just like a hugging or kissing animation. So to avoid this, I have this turned off, but just for the cinematics aspect, not the gameplay aspect. Also, going back to the cheats menu, I actually do have manual NPC sim sex turned on, as well as change sex location anywhere. I just basically do this for micromanaging purposes. It allows you to have control over NPC sims whenever they're hunching. Sometimes they'll go in the most obscure areas and I'll just change the location for them, or I'll just make them stop hunching altogether. And then for the change sex location, this allows you to have the ability to change your sim's sex location to wherever you like. So let's say, for example, your sims are hunching on this chair right here. If I want them to move to the floor, they can move to the floor. But this is really useful for making machinimas or just making cinematic clips. And that's pretty much it for the sex settings. Now we're going to move on to pregnancy settings. And I do have the menstrual cycle turned on for adult sims and teen sims. Going through the menstrual cycle settings, we have the menstrual cycle duration. And I'm actually going to change this. I typically play with the automatic lifespan, but lately I feel like all of my sims with uteruses, they just be having periods like all the time. And it's honestly annoying. I think I'm going to set this to normal to long instead. So every 13 to 16 days would be my sim's menstrual cycle. That actually might be too long, but like I said, my sims be having periods like almost every episode at this point. Menstrual cycle fertility level boosted. Let me put that to realistic. I don't need no sim babies anytime soon. Menstrual cycle absorbency. I think I might cheat a little bit and do boosted so that my sims aren't using up all their pads and tampons. I feel like I'm also buying these so frequently. Advanced menstrual cycle settings. Use toilet to change pad tampon is turned on. Period effect moodlet switch is turned on, so your sims will get different types of moodlet buffs from their period. We have the period bleeding switch turned on. Oh, I think this is a new setting. Remove pad from undressing switch. I think I'll turn that on, even though I do have nudity turned off in my game. And then we do have NPC pregnancy switch turned on. And then period is something that I do have turned off, and has birth control effect on periods. If your sims take birth control, it'll prevent your sims from having like PMS, moodlets, and periods. I like to turn it off because I like to have my sims have these different moodlets pop up and having to use pads and tampons. But a little bit later on, I'm going to show you guys that your sims can buy chill pills, and these pills will actually help suppress your sims' mood swings whenever they're on their period, which I think is really cool. If you have the menstrual cycle switch turned on, you don't have to worry about adjusting the pregnancy settings. Then we're going to move on to birth control, and I have the accuracy set to realistic, so sometimes it's not always 100% preventive. And I can tell you that this is very much true because Cameron and Chastity stay on birth control, okay? Cameron always uses protection, and long story short, Chastity did end up getting pregnant. I think that's pretty realistic. Like birth control is not 100% preventative, so I'm gonna keep that set to realistic. Now for NPC Sims birth control use, I do have this at moderates. So whenever your Sims hook up with NPC Sims, sometimes they'll use protection, sometimes they don't. I do have condom automatic use turned on, so whenever your Sims have condoms in their inventory, they'll automatically use them. I also have pill automatic use turned on as well. So same thing with the condoms. If your Sims have birth control in their inventory, they'll automatically take it. It just helps me not have to micromanage my Sims down to the point where I have to make sure that they're taking their pills on a daily basis. I mean, if you want to play on hard mode and have this turned off, be my guest. I actually thought about doing that sometimes, but I don't know. I feel like I would be overwhelmed by that. Moving on to other settings, I want to say I have this set to like 7 days. I do have male pregnancy switch turned off. Now, here's a very, and I mean very important setting, and this is transform woohoo into try for baby switch. And I have this enabled. So what this does is that it transforms all the woohoo interactions to allow a chance to be pregnant, because we can be woohooing without no consequences, which is great because for YouTube content, I have to have my Sims woohoo rather than use the wicked interaction. And here is a very sensitive setting, and this is to allow Sims to experience miscarriage. And I usually have this turned off, but I think I'll have this turned on for realism and see how it goes. If it's too much, I'll turn it off, but for now I'll have it on. And I think that's pretty much it for pregnancy settings. We're gonna move on to relationship settings. So here's the attractiveness settings, and this allows your Sims to feel attractive towards other Sims. And I think this is great because your Sims can actually let you know who they're attracted to, who they're not attracted to. And because it's my favorite feature, all of it is turned on. And the advanced attractiveness settings, your Sims will get a chance of another Sim giving them a suggestive look, which means, hey, I'm trying to get down and dirty. What you trying to do? And I have this set to 0.6. Moving on to personality settings, I have these both turned on, and this gives your Sims like different types of archetypes. And here are those archetypes. You have sage, artist, hero, caregiver, jester, innocent, lover, sister, and everyman. Based on your Sims archetypes, this will determine how they interact with other different Sims. So if you have like a lover Sim, these Sims are more likely to autonomously engage in romantic interactions. If you have a sinister Sim, they'll autonomously engage in mean interactions. So this is really fun, and I think this adds so much more depth and personality to your Sim. So that's why this feature is turned on in my game. And with the personality impressions, it allows you to see the archetypes of other Sims, and you can see what type of personality that they have, which I think is really fun. I have the persistent social boredom switch turned off. Because what you mean you getting bored of the conversation? I think this is actually really nice to have turned on in the game. However, when I have to do YouTube videos, sometimes I do have to select the same interaction for context in my videos, or if I miss the interaction, I have to do it again so that you guys can see it. So for recording YouTube videos, I have this turned off, but for realistic gameplay, I would have this turned on. Lewd dreaming switch, this is turned on, and your Sims will have lewd dreams about other Sims. Desire switch is turned on, so whenever your Sims are engaging in romantic interactions, they'll get a moodlet to let you know that they might be wanting to do a little bit more. So that's turned on. And I do have sex cheating moodlet switch turned on. Let's see what relationship utilities is. Open relationship switch. I think I'll keep this off because I think by default your Sims will still be able to engage in romantic interactions with other Sims regardless of them being in a relationship. I'm literally dealing with a cheating storyline right now as we speak, and this isn't toggled on. I do have adult teen relationship switch turned off. I might turn this on if I do have 2 teen Sims and then one ages up to a young adult and the other one just has like a few more Sim days to age up, but for the most part this is turned off. Relationship jealousy switch is turned on, and then I leave this setting here on default. And that's pretty much it for the relationship settings. Now there is a category called Sims protocols, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, I have no idea what this means. If you want to learn more about this, I would definitely suggest checking out the website, but I won't be covering because I have no idea what this is. I've never touched this at all. There is one more setting here, and this is the headline effects settings, and I use this so frequently. So if you don't feel like manually putting in the cheat, you can just go in your Wicked Whims settings and you can either toggle on headline effects or toggle them off. So if I disable the headline effects, if I hover over Chastity, she'll no longer have her name hover over her. By the way, I do play with no plum bob. I believe it's the missing plum bob mod made by Valentine. I'll have that link in the description down below, but I just don't play with the plum bob. I know I'm not a real simmer, but I just find it to be a little bit distracting, so that's why. But if I hover over Chastity and Cameron, their names do not show up. But if I go back into settings and enable it, if I hover over her again, you'll see that her name pops up. And that's pretty much it for the settings. That's all the settings that I have set in my game. Hopefully with these settings, it'll make your gameplay more seamless with Wicked Whims and it doesn't feel like like very random and also very intrusive. But going back to the setting profiles, you can switch them from setting to setting. Again, you can clone them, you can remove it, you can rename it. I would highly suggest making a copy of these settings, and you can find these in your saves folder. Now we're gonna move on to the main feature of this mod, and that is the custom sex interactions. So I'm gonna do a quick tutorial on that. Going back to what I was saying about the different categories of sex interactions, what you'll do is you can click on certain objects and you'll see the sex interaction pop up on them. With the animations that I have downloaded, I can click on like a chair, I can click on a table. I think there's even interactions on the counter, like wherever you think your Sims can hunch on. 9 times out of 10, there's animation for it. So I'm gonna click on this chair here. We're gonna go into Wicked and click on the sex interaction. And here's the different categories that I was talking about earlier that you could choose from. If you don't want to see any of these interactions, just click on teasing. And this is where literally all the interactions that I use for my cinematics will be. Like, you won't need to touch on any of the other categories, and with the settings that I showed you earlier, you won't ever have to need to see them. So we're gonna click on Cameron, her partner, and we're gonna do an E44P. Like I said before, this is hands down my favorite animator. And if you become a Patreon member, you get even more animations from them. But one of my personal favorites is Freaky PDA. We're gonna click on that, and Chastity's going to ask Cameron to do the interaction with her, and then they'll autonomously head over to the chair. And as you can see here, they do the interaction. Now I will say, I typically have the audio turned off whenever I'm doing them because they be so damn loud. And because I have the progression turned off, they won't automatically go to the next category. They won't automatically take their clothes off. They won't do anything that you're uncomfortable with them doing. They'll just do whatever you want them to do. And yeah, I think the animations are so cute. I think it's worth having Wicked Whims just for the animations alone. They're already done, and that was like really quick. Like really quick. And I think it's because I actually paused and talked while they were doing it. So what we're actually going to do is go back into the sex settings and change the duration back to the defaults, because I was not expecting them to get done so quickly. I'm gonna show another animation for you guys, and it's the same animation from the intro. So again, you'll go back to the sex interactions, go to teasing. Again, this is the only category you'll need. And if you have Kiki Chain's animations downloaded in your game, you'll have access to this animation right here. This is flirt dash table side, and I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like.
Cleaver. Tobano.
I love when Cameron Googles like that. He does it every time they start hunching. It's so funny. As you can see here, Chastity's ass is hanging off the damn table. But this leads me to one of my favorite features that Wicked Whims has. So if you click on Chastity or Cameron, or if you click on the table that the interaction's on, you'll see the actions category. Click on that, and you'll see the enable positioning. You'll have this interface pop up, and what you can do with this is that you can adjust your Sims position. If you click on the big pink dots in the center, you can adjust the increment. So the larger the increment is, the more farther they'll move. So if you click on 1, they'll like go way far. If you click on 0.1, they'll move just a teeny bit. I'm gonna move it back to 0.1 and move them back on the table. Then do like 0.5, move her a little bit off of the centerpiece. You can also set the rotation increments. You can select the participants. So if you want Cameron to be a little bit taller than Chastity in this interaction, we can just select him and hit the up arrow a little bit so that he's a little bit taller. But yeah, this right here is such a game changer, y'all. I'm always using this whenever using custom animations, but not only that, but custom poses as well, which I'll show after this. But here's what the interaction looks like. It is one of my favorite interactions, y'all. I love it so bad. Like, look at them being grown. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, like this is like the finest couple I've ever made. Okay, so because of my settings, I disallowed for automatic progression. It's asking if we want to move on to the next category, and we don't want to do that, so we'll just hit disallow. And your Sims will just reset and do the same animation. So we're going to have them stop doing that. Hello? Anyways, I swear, one thing about Moses, he gonna show up in all of my videos, no matter what. But I also like to use Wicked Whims to pose my Sims for different pictures. So what you'll need for this mod is the Teleport Any Sim mod made by Andrew. You'll go into build mode, and in the search bar, you'll type in teleporter, and you should see Sim teleporter destination. You'll click on that. And you should see these white statues, and you can teleport these anywhere that you want your Sims to pose at. For the sake of this video, I want them to do a pose on the piano. So what I'll do is I'll teleport these statues over here. And if you want to pose 2 Sims at once, what you'll do is you'll stack the statues on top of each other like that. I'm gonna get out of build mode, select the statue, and you should see 2 interactions. You can summon a Sim here, or you can teleport a Sim here. If the Sim that you want posed is not on the lot, you can summon them here and they'll pop up. But since both Cameron and Chastity are on the lot, we're just gonna teleport them here. And we're going to pose them. So you're going to click on Chastity first, and you should see a wicked interaction. You'll click on that, and you should see a pose interaction. Select that, and then this is where you'll have like a list of all the custom poses that you have in your game. If you're looking for poses, I would highly suggest Tumblr for them. This is where I get majority of my poses from. I'll have the link to my favorite Tumblr page for poses in the description down below for you guys. But the pose I'm going to use for today's video is one of my absolute favorite pose creators, and this is Mel Bennett. As you can see here, I have a bunch of their poses in my game, and we're going to select the Your Song pose pack. Once you select the pose, there's different poses to choose from. I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I think we're going to do pose 5. So for Chastity, we're going to select female, and then for Cameron, I'm going to scroll down and select the male. Hit play, and your Sims will autonomously move into this position. And that's how I get my Sims to pose for their pictures. And yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. Like, y'all be asking, it is so easy, and you can use Wicked Whims to pose your Sims. And if you want to adjust their position, what you'll do is just select the Sim, hit Wicked, go to Actions, enable positioning, and that interface will show up again. I think I'm gonna lower camera a little bit. There we go. So now his hand's actually laying on Chastity's thigh. But again, I'll have the link to the teleport mod as well as the Tumblr page where you can get a bunch of poses from. Link in the description down below for you guys. All right, moving on to the final category. And that is all of my favorite gameplay features that comes with Wicked Whims. And I'm only gonna like brush on the surface of these gameplay features because again, there's just so much. And honestly, I just want you guys to kind of explore it for yourselves. One of my favorite features, if not most favorites, is the attractiveness system. So if you click on your Sim, you should see a pop-up that says attractiveness. You'll select this, and you have different options to choose from. We can manually choose Cameron's preferences, or we can develop his preferences. And I usually do the latter for all of my Sims. I never manually choose them. You have the ability to determine what traits your Sims will find attractive. You can choose based off their romantic partners, based off their family parents, and then based on certain Sims that you pick. I typically choose this and choose like some of the Sims that I want them to be attracted to, and then it kind of just determines whether Sims they'll find attractive. For today's video, I'm going to develop his traits based on his romantic partners, and you have different types of strengths to choose from. I always use moderate, and this reads moderate development strength will develop mostly positive preferences with occasional negative preferences for all attractive traits. And it says here that attractive preferences are being currently developed. With the number of Sims involved, this may take around 3 seconds. You can continue playing while the developing is in progress. But because we did develop Cameron's traits based off his romantic partners, he has only 2 of them. Chastity, his current girlfriend, and then Gina, one of his crushes from high school. So if we select on these 2 Sims, we should see that he finds his romantic partners to be attractive. What I love about the attractive system is that your Sims will get an attractance alert pop up from time to time for a Sim that they find attractive. And I think this really helps with storytelling because it allows your Sims to let you know who they're attracted to. And I think that just adds like another layer of personality for your Sims. All right, moving on to the next gameplay feature that I use very, very frequently in my game, and that is pregnancy, birth control, and menstrual cycles. That's all kind of like grouped up together because they all work hand in hand with each other. Based on my settings, I have all 3 of those turned on, and your Sims will have a chance to get pregnant whenever they engage in woohoo, whenever they engage in like the sexual interactions with Wicked Whims. And so in order to prevent your Sims from getting pregnant from said interactions, what you can do is you can purchase contraceptives for your Sims. So if you have a computer, you can click on the computer, click on the Wicked interaction, and you should see an interaction that says purchase Wicked items. If your Sims have contracted an STD, they can purchase a shampoo to help combat it. If your Sims are having their period, they can get pads and tampons. You can buy hygiene pads in here, and then my favorite items to get, which is the birth control pills. All of my Sims that are able to get pregnant always have this in their inventory at all times. Those chill pills I was talking about earlier. If you have your Sims take this, they'll stop getting those pesky moodlets that they'll get from their periods. We also have condoms and we also have lubricant in here as well. When you purchase these items, they'll take like 1 to 2 sim days to get to your Sim's house, but sometimes that's not fast enough. And you're able to access these in build mode, but I also think you're able to access them via the phone as well. Oh, you are. So Cameron can actually go to the store real quick and grab the items. I'm actually gonna have him do that. I've never done that before. Cameron, can you please go to the store? All right, Cameron's at the store. We're gonna grab pads and tampons, some birth control, the chill pills, and then condoms. And honestly, I think I'm gonna grab the lubricant too, because I wanna see what that does. How long will he be gone for? That's actually really realistic. Like, he's not just gonna magically have the items. I actually really like this. I'm gonna be using that interaction so much more often in my series now. I always thought the only option was the computer or build mode, but Cameron just came back from the store. We'll have him come back in here and show us the items that he purchased. So if we check his inventory, we have the pads and tampons, the birth control, the wipes, the condoms, and the lubricants. I'm gonna give the pads and tampons and birth control to Chastity. And because I do have automatic pill use turned on, she'll automatically take the pills, but I'm actually gonna have her take one real quickly. And she'll get a pop-up that says Chastity took a birth control pill. I don't think she's on her period yet. Oh, not her feeling aroused. Yeah, she's on her period yet, but if you unpack the pads and tampons box, she'll have 7 pads and 7 tampons to use. I forgot to give Chastity the chill pills. Let me do that real quick and see if that has an impact on her PMS moodlets. Oh, it did. It got rid of it. Chastity took a chill pill. I'm gonna have them hunch on this bed real quick because I want to see what the lubricant does. Apply to entire body. Let me put this in Chastity's inventory. Hold on. Oh my gosh, she's shiny. Oh my gosh, what in the world? This is actually really scary. This is not cute at all.
Flarbin.
I don't like this at all.
Zorpo.
Like, why did homegirl put the lube in her hair?
Oh.
Okay, but as you can see here, Cameron has honestly used the condom.
Bartley. One new. Donkey.
Oh.
Flynna.
Holy fuck.
Friska.
Oh.
Alright, let's wrap it up. Come on now.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Okay, did she get a buff from the lubricant? I don't think she did. Pleasantly satisfied. That woohoo was something to remember. She didn't. I'm not using this lubricant no more, y'all. Goodbye. I think if I have Chastity shower, it'll wash the lubricant away, which will lead me to one of my favorite features that comes with Wicked Whims. Now, this is from the Patreon version. I think eventually this will be available for the free version, but I'm gonna have her take a shower with Cameron and show you guys what that looks like. I won't be able to show the entirety of it because of YouTube, unfortunately. But I love this interaction so much. I feel like I use it all the time. I'm gonna hide behind the lamp, y'all. There we go. That should be good. Yeah, I think the interaction is so cute.
neecxle. Hey.
Oh. I love it so bad, y'all. I use it all the time. All the time.
Samso. Sabado.
There is one more gameplay feature that I wanted to show in this video, but I have to wait for a certain sim to spawn onto the lot. So I guess I'll just wait and see if they'll pop up. So the sim that I was expecting to autonomously spawn onto the lot never did. So I ended up grabbing him from the gallery. This is Tom Peeping. He is an NPC sim that comes with Wicked Whims. And if you have the window peeping setting turned on, he will spawn onto the lot that your sims are on and peep through the window. For the sake of today's video, I left them setting on, which is ironic because the one time I need this man to show up, he doesn't. But like literally any other time I accidentally leave the setting on, he shows up unannounced. Like, make it make sense. But anyways, I'm gonna end off this video off with Cameron being his ass. Like, I've been wanting to do this for a good little minute, so we gonna handle it right now. Not Cameron in a freaky mood still. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we finna put the pause on him. Oh wait, I don't think I'm able to because they don't have a bad relationship. Let me cheat this real quickly. Okay, I set the relationship to -100. So we're gonna see if the fight interaction shows up. It does. All right, Cameron, give him the pause. I really hope Cameron can fight because it's gonna be really embarrassing if he loses this fight.
Whopping now.
Mink, mink, mink! Y'all, I think Cameron's about to lose. Cameron, please! Please win!
Charlotte.
Oh, period! Y'all, we won the fight! Everybody make some noise for Cameron. He needs to teach his sister how to fight because she actually got her ass whipped in the most recent Discovery University episode. Anyways, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to beat up Tom Peeping, and we did, so I think we're gonna end off the video here. But that is all that I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you guys found this Wicked Whims tutorial video to be very helpful. Please leave a like and comment if you did. But if you enjoyed this tutorial video, also subscribe so you don't miss any more tutorial videos I do in the future. And I'll see you guys in my next video.